How's it going, everyone? It's me, Vivi, and welcome to another Sly Cooper Bosses Ranked video. I've done this before with 1, 2, and 3. What I go for, usually, is general breakdowns. This is not meant to be a video where you see me defeat the bosses with no damage. That's not the point. You will see me go through some fails, and I will try to explain how to overcome those failed attempts. So feel free to share your own tips. As a matter of fact, from my other previous videos, people have been leaving their own tips. So, let's dive straight into Sly 4. My opinion on the overall difficulty of these boss fights in this game? Well, they all have their own set of mechanics, meaning that they all rely on a certain gimmick. All boss fights, except a couple, not only utilize suits which you obtain in each episode, but also rely on its surroundings. That's one thing I really love about Sly Cooper 4, how the boss battles are designed. This is probably something you don't hear often when talking about Sly 4, but I really do love the style of boss battles in this game. It's not only you swinging your cane around, which is basically the feel of boss battles in the previous games. But when it comes to Sly 4, you use suits, items which you collect throughout the episodes, and you get to interact with the environment. So with that, all bosses, except one of course, all have their fair share of challenge. Look, some people hate ice physics. Some people probably hate a certain costume or suit. In the end, that's what it comes down to. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time contains 7 bosses, 6 being mains, and 1 extra in episode 5. There are 7 episodes if you count the prologue and epilogue. For those who are new to the channel or just so happen to stumble upon this video for the very first time, well, the way I go at it, I start from easiest and then go to most difficult, one by one. So with that being said, guys, let's get started. Coming in at number 7, probably obvious, Le Paradox. Le Paradox relies on you performing a bunch of ninja spiral jumps and quick time events. That's basically it. If you're a newcomer to Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, the only little thing that might confuse you, at a certain point after basic one press of a button sequences, you get prompted to repeatedly press a button. Visually, it might be hard to tell, but it is there. You don't see any text whatsoever. You might miss your mark. If you miss your mark, I mean you don't really lose health. You just miss your chance and have to start all over. Honestly, the surrounding vortex looks really cool. If you take the time to actually analyze the surroundings, we spend so much time talking about how this boss battle is disappointing, but the surroundings? It looks pretty cool. Eventually, you get transported to the blimp's surface. You slide your way towards Le Paradox. It's not hard. You have a big chance of making it across the rails. I mean, look at it. And then, after that's done, you end up at the end part. Same thing, button prompts. Le Paradox had a lot of missed potential. This type of boss reeks of limited time on development, which is unfortunately sad. I'll talk more about this in a future video. Alright, so let's move on to number 6. The 3-headed metal dragon from episode 5. Yay, you get to play as Carmelita with her trusty old shock pistol. You start with a 3-headed dragon. It requires you to run, dodge, incoming fireballs. Not too hard as a starter. There are also baby dragons on the field which you have to look out for. They do deal damage. The moment you see them, try to blast them. Once one of the heads opens its mouth and shoots fire in one lane, you fire in its mouth. It'll get stunned, and now's your chance to jump on its head and fire one of its eyes. That head will go down. You're left with 2 this time. You have lasers this time on the ground, which you have to jump over. And missiles, don't forget about missiles. Make sure to get rid of those first. It's the same procedure, dodge, run, jump, fire in its mouth, shoot the eye, and you're then left with 1 head. With 1 head remaining, it will start to rotate its wings, causing wind to happen. You just have to keep running straight forward as to not fall off the platform. Once you destroy one of its eyes, the rest will come back from the dead. Now they're all mad. There'll be more missiles. Well, that's to be expected. Also, there will be more than one head that will open its mouth and shoot fire in one lane. You choose which one you want to go at first. Actually, it depends on where you are. Once you decide who you want to attack first, it's the same procedure. Destroy the remaining eye. As for the last head, everything's combined. When there's wind, there will also be lasers on the ground. You run, and you jump at the same time. So why did I put this one at number 6? The challenge to this one, you really gotta keep an eye on what's happening, what's coming. You gotta really aim straight. Well, aim precisely. That's what I mean. You make sure you don't fall off the edge, don't forget. Sometimes you might be too focused on where you're aiming and you might lose track of where you are, falling off the edge. It's happened to me before. It's not too hard of a challenge. It's fair, I'd say. At least this one is much more interesting than Le Paradox's. So with that being said, let's move on to number 5. Penelope. It's a very fun boss battle. I love the archer suit. We now enter the realm of Sly 4 costumes. When using costumes or suits, the majority of the time you can remain in them. It's not too much of a trouble, especially for this one. Heck, it saves you time sometimes. This boss contains 2 parts, one with Sly and the other with Bentley. For Sly's part, phase 1 starts with Penelope firing a laser at you. You gotta run and don't jump. Make sure you don't jump. Depending on which tower is closest to you, you try and jump on the trampoline. Watch out for that shockwave which causes the floor to rise. Once you're on top, you shoot your arrow through the respective hole you see on that shield. If you miss, she'll shake you off the tower. Once you manage to connect the rope to her shoulder, be quick. Don't let her laser cut the rope. Press R1 repeatedly, and boom, one shoulder strap is down. This time, missiles will appear. You might think you have time to dodge them if you enter the red zone accidentally, but nope. Just make sure to avoid those red targets completely. Then, once you move to the middle tower, you shoot in the center. If you miss, she'll fire a laser at you. Once you successfully hit the center, you have to restart the whole process. It is intentional. She'll be more agitated this time. She'll pound the ground 3 times faster, and missiles will be going on a frenzy. Repeat the whole process, and then move to Bentley with the Moat Monster, which was originally created by Penelope. The trick to this one, you have to really wait for her to throw her punches. Once you do so, there's your opening. Go ahead and punch 3 times. If you happen to get hit, do not try and spam the square button to punch her right afterwards. You don't have enough time and she'll hit you. You might get a triangle prompt to do a super move. In this one I did not use it, I didn't even see triangle pop up, but if you use that, you won't move as fast for a short while. Once her health depletes enough, you mash square. Part 1 of this battle relies on a lot of dodging and timing especially. Part 2 is all about patience. You have to attack when there's an opening, and that is why I put Penelope at number 5. Coming in at number 4, El Jefe. This one is one of the highlights of Sly 4 because, look, if you remember back in 2012 and all that, the demos showcased El Jefe. He is a memorable boss fight, for that reason, most of all. So, about El Jefe. This boss involves multiple steps, and the ground it covers is pretty big, until of course you reach the platforms. So you start off by dodging fireballs and walking on ropes. It is always better to jump after the fireballs have disappeared. It lessens the chances of being hit. Once you reach the platform, he'll start by casting fire on the ground. You can jump to dodge it. Simple. Afterwards, he summons lightning. After that, he'll swing his sword at you. The moment he uses those 2 small swords, switch into your samurai suit to deflect his fireball. Then you whoop his butt with your cane. After that, he'll push you away. You repeat the same steps, then we make our way to the second platform. Jump over to the other small platforms. Avoid his fireballs, of course. You slide your way to the next platform. Now here comes the unexpected. The fire he casts this time reaches higher ground. You'll have to switch to your samurai suit as soon as you can. The cue for this? While you see him fly into the air, just switch costumes. This time, watch out for the electric balls on the floor. Avoid his sword, jump, and a run, of course. Here, he'll swing his sword twice, tricking you into thinking he'll do it once, so you might get hit the first time. Repeat the same steps until you finish this round. Now we make our way to the third platform, round number 3. You jump onto the bamboos when the fireballs disappear. The first part, well, it's the same as the second platform. After you whack him with your cane, here comes his new move. 2 lightning waves sliding on the floor. Once he's left with 1 hit point, he'll swing his electric sword 3 times. Well, swords, because he has 2. So why is this guy at number 4? Well, 1, the extra mile you have to cross which involves dodging. The risk of falling when making your way to the platform. You do lose health when falling. Once you reach the platform, you have to utilize perfectly timed jumps. Use your samurai suit accordingly, and keep your eye on his moveset. So with that said, let's move on to number 3. The GRIZZ Episode 4. GRIZZ and El Jefe, to be honest with you, were pretty close in terms of difficulty. But ultimately, I went with the GRIZZ because, you know, ice physics. You start off with GRIZZ, launching icy shockwaves, which you can dodge with a regular jump. He'll slide on his belly, so make sure you jump at the right time. He'll also twirl into the air, creating 3 waves of ice. As you can see here, I jumped way too early, so the third wave hit me, and I froze. This can be tricky, so what it takes is, well, proper jumping. You have to double jump precisely, or you'll get hit. He'll also skate rather aggressively at some point. Keep an eye on him. Then come the walls. You have to punch out 3 ice blocks for the first round, while also avoiding incoming shockwaves of ice. If you take too long in this round, you'll have to restart the phase. Once you complete this phase successfully, there will be a button prompt sequence. Yay, a memorizing game. Yes, it is 3 buttons, but still. Memorizing for me already bumps up the challenge. Do this. The Murray will lure him onto the edge and punch him repeatedly. As for the second phase, it's the same as the first, but now you have icy blocks. Yeah, this one can be quite of a hassle, especially if you are too close. This is long-range combat, so make sure you're not too close to him. In this phase, there's also icicles which might fall on you because he stomps, so keep an eye on those targets, alright? Eventually the walls will appear again. There will be more icy blocks to punch. This time he will stomp on the ground to make icicles fall, and also produce shockwaves. Make sure you dodge them as much as possible in order not to waste time. And the thing with the shockwave here, you really gotta keep a close eye on him. Why? Because the shockwave can hide under the walls. Yes, the walls aren't that thick, but it can trick you sometimes. Also, if you're too slow, the walls will hit you right in the face and it will deal damage. You'll have to repeat the phase all over. Once you successfully complete this part, the button prompts again. More memorizing this time. It's the same procedure as before. Once you reach phase number 3, well, basically, naturally, the more you advance, the more dodging you'll have to do. So this comes in number 3 because 1, you have to focus on the distance between you and the enemy. 2, dodging at the proper times, especially the fact that you are on ice. Timing is very important, your jumps especially, and being careful. You know, keep an eye on him. Oh, and don't forget about memorizing. So that is why he falls at number 3. Number 2. Toothpick from episode 3. Oh boy. This one requires you to utilize the jailbird costume. The downside to this costume, it really slows you down. You can't blame Sly, the poor guy's lifting that boulder. When the laser grid activates on the floor, you have to get on top of the boulder as quick as you can. To deactivate it, you have to crush its activator. Once you do so, you quickly switch to your regular costume, okay? That is very important. you have to be careful. Speed is important in this one. Once you see those boulder icons, go towards them and you throw your boulder. Quickly change back to your regular suit. If not, you'll get hit by his dynamite. After that phase, he'll get huge because of those whistles in the background. A line he'll repeat over and over again.
Who turned on the blasted whistle? Who turned on the blasted whistle?
He'll jump 4 times. It can be hard to dodge, as you can see, if you don't follow a certain pattern. For me, you might not agree. A circular motion is best to avoid his jumps. If you don't agree, share your own tips. Once he retreats to the back, keep your distance, because he's going to be sending whirlwinds to you. If you're too close, you're going to get hit, obviously. Better to just run through them. Yes, you can jump over the small ones, but it's a bit tricky. As for the big ones, just keep running in a circular motion as much as you can. Don't let go of the trigger when running. Then the icon appears, which tells you to push him into the furnace with your boulder. Phase 2 comes in. As you can see, if you switch suits too soon, you'll get hit with dynamite. He throws 2 this time. Oh, and don't forget about the turrets. That is also new for this phase. Wait for him to be done with that turret launcher. He might throw a laser grid device at you, not 1 but 2. If he doesn't, well, you're just gonna go back to him turning big, this time jumping on you 5 times. Whirlwinds again? Avoid them. The big ones, like I said, circular motion. Phase 3. He'll throw 3 dynamites at you this time. He will throw laser grid balls. The moment you see those balls, switch into your jail suit. Yes, you do have an opening, but just be quick. And roll over him. Once he reaches his huge size, he's gonna start jumping 6 times. It can be a struggle. So like I said, circular motion. Whirlwinds, after a few rounds, will come at you much quicker, so watch out. And then you get him in the furnace again, and bye-bye. So Vivi, why is this dude at number 2? The amount of times you got hit should tell us that you would put this guy at number 1. Yes, the biggest challenge, at least in my experience, is dodging his incoming attacks. Dodging is the hardest when it comes to this boss. That might automatically make you think that he deserves the number 1 spot, but then again, you get used to his moveset. It's not that overwhelming. You just gotta be quick, and you just gotta dodge at the right times. If you get your dodging skills right, this boss battle should be pretty manageable, but still, it's something. Number 1, Miss DECIBEL from episode 6. I absolutely love this one. It's probably my second favorite boss design in Sly 4, but when it comes to difficulty, I put her at number 1. Alright, this involves your thief costume. You are required to use the slowing time ability, especially when it comes to traversing. These platforms right here, they crack really fast, so you're gonna have to slow down time. And to properly do this, you're gonna have to use your suit throughout. Once you make your way up to the first area, she'll jump once, creating a shockwave. It's easily dodgeable. Then you smack her. Now comes the timing part for your suit's ability. The music ribbons. I recommend jumping from one ribbon to the next in order to avoid those beams. Jumping is more risky. Sure, you can do it, but it's a bit harder. If you get hit once, you're gonna restart. Is it worth it? I prefer jumping from one ribbon to the other, left and right. Don't be impatient, okay? If you need time to recharge your ability, hop onto the recovery area. You don't have to switch back to your regular suit as you already keep your basic movesets. Once you reach this area, you can use your time-slowing ability to avoid those musical notes. You can run using your normal run, without using slow-mo, but if you do slow down time, it's less of a risk. To reach her afterwards, you use your sword. There are no incoming attacks, so don't worry. You see this? I didn't say this before, but this is the type of fight where you're on the edge of your seat, wondering which platform to jump onto. Plus, falling deals a considerable amount of damage. Reaching this area, she'll start blowing out musical balls. Lack of a better description. You can either A, slow down time, and keep running until they disappear, or be Mr. Savage and just run with no ability. By ability, I mean not utilizing your suit's time ability. Before reaching the final phase, you have more ribbons to cross over. Now this part requires you more about thinking and, obviously, timing. As for the thinking part, well, do not get too close to her, cause she'll try to attack you with her horn. As for the timing part, she'll jump 3 times. For her third jump, don't be too quick to jump, okay? She takes her time with the third jump, so keep an eye on her. Wait for the ring to appear, then jump. Also, while she charges at you, slow down time. Lure her towards those towers. The way I do it, halfway when she's running towards you, activate the slow-mo ability. Once she's in close proximity, let go of your ability. Of course, make sure you avoid her bumping into you, because that deals a lot of damage. If you don't rely on your time-slowing ability, you'll get run by her. Or if you're lucky, you can still get her to destroy one of those towers, with you just simply running around. Watch out for her balls and jumping. Be careful. If you're running without slowing time, you might get distracted, like I said before, and you'll get damage, especially for this part right here. Here comes the thinking part again. She summons those balls, and then decides to throw musical notes at you. You see what I did here? You see my mistake? I slowed down at the wrong moment and I got hit. You'll repeat the same afterwards, for the towers, and that's it. Decibel comes at number 1, simply due to how many things you have to take into account when facing her. This fight revolves around visuality, keeping an eye on your surroundings, the environment, the cracking platforms and all that, thinking, when to attack, when to slow down time, and of course, like I've said 50 times in the video, timing! So with that being said, folks, I wonder if you agree with my list. Do you feel like Toothpick comes in number 1? Do you feel like Toothpick was easier for you? What do you think? I'd like to know your own list, alright? So with that being said, leave your own thoughts in the comment section below, alright? And I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. And until next time.